Daniel Theobald here. It's Mental Health Awareness Month. I'm here with Dr. Chu. Dr. Chu is a psychiatrist who's board certified to treat both adult and pediatric populations. Her clinic is based in the Bay Area and provides comprehensive mental health services to the community locally and remotely throughout California. So, Dr. Chu, we've been talking about mental health. You mentioned to me earlier how important self-love is. And this is a topic that we haven't really covered to date. I guess it would be important for our listeners to both understand what is self-love, what do we mean by that, and then how do you actually do that? But do you want to briefly introduce yourself first, and then we can get into it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me here. So I'm a psychiatrist and I see both children and adults, and we provide, all kinds of service, including medication, including psychotherapy, and including some genetic testing or clinic. I am a mom. I have 3 children, and I have 4 children. I have one fur baby, a dog, and I moved to California about 9 years ago, and I really enjoy my life here.
Great. So self-love, what does that mean?
Because where our clinic is, we have a lot of very high functioning patients, and what I see a lot in my clinic is people who are very intelligent, who are very hardworking, who are great people, and partially mental health condition, they are not just from one condition or from one cause. It's a combination of genetic factors, of psychological factors, like based on how they were raised, and also environmental factors. But I think the psychological genetic factors, there's nothing we can do about it. This is how we are wired. But for the environmental and for the psychological factors, there's so much we can do to improve the quality of our, not just our mental health, like of our experience with life in general. And I see a lot of people, like what I said, they're intelligent, they're hardworking, they're great people, but not completely, but a big part of their suffering is from ignoring the importance of their own happiness, unable or having difficulty to love themselves. And this can yeah, and
Yeah,
this can not only affect their own happiness, but also affect the happiness around of people around them, like their loved one, their close friends, their children.
that's interesting that you say that. I was just reflecting as you were talking about that. And, for many years, my own personal happiness wasn't even something I thought about, right? I was just grinding it out and just accomplishing, and never even stopped to ask myself if I was happy or what that would look like or if that was even important in my life. And there came a time when I finally realized that if I didn't start focusing on my own happiness, it was going to get bad. It resonates with me what you're saying.
I think a lot of times it may be related to how we were raised up. A lot of people of like my generation, parents, they did not focus on like teaching our children it's important to pay attention to your feelings, it's important to be happy, and it's related to the social economic environment for parents they experienced back then. And then maybe a lot of us, we were raised in the environment that achieving a goal is important, or working hard, that is important, not so much about doing fun activities, be happy, and like pay attention and value your own experience, your own happiness. That wasn't taught. And then when we were raised that way, we just keep going. And then we forgot. And especially the environment today is very different from, let's say, 30, 60 years ago. The demand, the stress on the mental part is so much more than, let's say, 50 years ago. A lot of farm work, factory work wasn't Yeah, it's very different environment.
Yeah, this has come up before that our brains really didn't evolve for this life that we're in now. Our brains evolved to be out on the savannas of Africa, gathering food and sitting around the campfire,
Right.
sort of to be under the constant stress of, modern day jobs and social media, I guess.
Right. The funny thing is that in California, there's so much sunshine, right? So we would think that people in California would not have vitamin D deficiency, which is a very important vitamin because it has its own receptor on the neurons and it's a very important coenzyme in the metabolics of a lot of neurotransmitters. But if I order the vitamin D test for my patient, I would say like maybe 8 out of 10 would come back showing deficiency or insufficiency of vitamin D.
Wow.
We're in California, but just imagine other part of the country.
Too much sunscreen?
No, I would say too little sun exposure, too little outdoor activity.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I do just about everything possible to protect my skin from the sun. So maybe I need to rethink that a little bit.
Right.
Do vitamin D tablets work? They help?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So in the interest of time, let's just talk a little bit about self-love. I mean, how does somebody go about learning self-love?
I would say, first of all, like it's important. I'm a parent, so for me, it's very important to love my children, and it's very natural for me to love my children. But everyone has a child in his or herself, right? And
Oh,
we have
interesting.
to, yeah, we have to
Our inner child.
right, our inner child. And just to think about, hey, how do you want make your inner child happy? And really you have to pay attention to your inner child, listen to your inner child, validate your inner child, and then think about what we can do to make our inner child feel secure, feel happy, feel hopeful. And we say love is a verb. So really we need to take action. Once we acknowledge the importance of loving ourselves, then we need to do things to really realize that goal.
Actually do something. Don't just talk about it. Don't
No,
just.
yeah, actually do something. And it's actually not hard. Once you start doing, you'll feel happier. You'll become a better person. You're going to become a better father, better mom, better coworker, better friend, and everyone around you will benefit from that.
So you said validate, which obviously is important, but just for completeness, how do we validate somebody's feelings, including our own? What does that mean?
Well, I would say, first of all, respect other people' feeling and also understand everyone is different. So maybe I have a partner who gets very upset about this situation, which I think is like nonsense. It
Silly.
doesn't make any sense. It's silly. However, my partner may come from a bit different background and the experience or maybe even the neurological foundation of this person make this what I think is nonsense seem to be very important for my partner. So maybe I don't, of course, I would want to understand, but even I don't understand, I think I should try to respect and try to be curious and try to learn. And of course, that comes to validation.
Got it. Okay. And then, so listening to our inner child, I really like this. So this perspective that we have to be kind to ourselves, I think is a lot easier when you think of yourself almost as a third person. What?
And I would start to interrupt. I would say that's a practice. When you practice love on yourself, actually that's the safest thing to do. When you can do that, then you can use the same skills, the same love skills on people around you, right? Just think that way will make it easier. And for some people, maybe it's easier to motivate them to acquire a skill if they know this will benefit people they love. So start practicing that on yourself, loving
Right,
yourself.
sure. So if you don't learn to love yourself, you're not going to be as good at loving and supporting other people in your life that you care about, it sounds like.
Exactly. I would say love is circular, which means when you love yourself, you're loving other people. When you're loving other people, you're loving yourself. If you cannot love yourself, the love you think you have towards other people may
Mm,
not be a real true love.
oh,
Maybe actually it's
interesting.
more of feeling your, yeah,
Need or
your need,
whatever.
right.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. All right, that's a lot to think about. Any, just to wrap up, any like tips or tricks around, things that you do on a daily basis to show love to yourself?
I prioritize my sleep, and when I'm tired, I try to take nap. And I really your idea of deceleration. We really need to have those downtime and personal space. And when we feel, hey, there's so much work for us to do, so much responsibility for us to pay, but if you're not in a healthy, not in a happy state, you want to be able to do that. So when you feel you're tired, really pay attention to your body, step away to have your own downtime. And I
Mm,
do it, I may not do it regularly, but I do it whenever I feel I need it.
yeah, great.
Mhm.
Well, and so I think that ties in very well to a couple of episodes ago when we were told that we need to be kind to ourselves. I think, I was always, I didn't really identify so much, with the model of the parents pushing me so much, but I was pushing myself. I just, for whatever reason, was very self-motivated. But that I think that led to a lot of unkindness because, I did not give myself a break. And so I think this idea of being kind to yourself is maybe a good first step to learning to love yourself.
Exactly. And I would say everything important worth time, right? Take time to make an important decision, take time to do something well. And loving yourself, loving people around you, these things, they are important. So take time.
Mm,
And if we are always rushing, then you have no time. You have no time to think clearly. You have no time to practice important skills.
I love that. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you sharing your expertise with us today.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.